Welcome back to Take It Personal, the grammatically incorrect podcast where grief meets group chat energy. This week, we talk about losing a beloved foster dog, Mugsy, whether animals have souls, and why you should take advice from the people who actually like you. Plus, Tina Knowles' bestseller Matriarch, journaling cringe, Trump versus taco trucks, and how the NBA 2K community might be scaring us off the internet. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the next episode, because we have no idea what order we're going to release these puppies in. But welcome to the next episode of Take It Personal, the grammatically incorrect podcast that you're all enraptured with. I'm Jamie Rennell, and I am alongside my co-hosts, Steph and Will. And we just wanted to say welcome back. And remember, like, share, review, and let everybody know about this amazing podcast that we're putting together. So
also subscribe.
Also subscribe, yes, on your favorite podcast medium. Welcome, guys. I hope your week has been fruitful and lovely. What's going on in your world, Will, Steph?
Well, I had a day. I drove up and down the streets of 95. Jay-Z, Sean Carter, he has music about driving on I-95 as a drug dealer that I like to listen to. It might be a private playlist in Apple Music that I'll someday make public. I listen to Sean Carter music all day, and I went and checked in on family and friends who are south of here. And it was really nice. The traffic from Richmond to DC is horrendous. But also you see a lot of normal people who don't live in Metro DC. So like normal people, truck drivers.
Right. How long of a drive is it from DC to Richmond?
2.5 hours from where I need to be, door to door generally. Yeah. Or 3 hours if I'm going to the country to visit my real relatives. My friends, 2 hours. Family, 3 hours in the sticks. But yeah, but it was good. I got feedback about my life, my look.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
They gave me some feedback about my career, how I should be dressing in the absence of parents. Like you should wear more red. So I feel like I've been improved by the people who once knew me as a child today.
Whether you wanted to be improved or not.
I stayed away from the internet because I was talking to them and their version of the internet. And that's the best thing. Where they're like, so Diddy, right? He's going to go free. And I'm like, oh, I forgot. You raised. Hold on.
You are dangerously close to triggering an unskippable dialogue of mine right now. I just have to throw that out there.
I'm excited about that. But like people confronting me with their versions of the internet like 5 or 6 times a day. I was like, oh, our algorithms are so not the same. Oh, God. They asked me, they were like, does everyone watch women's sports? I had this hat on 6 hours today. And I was asked maybe 12 times south of DC. You think that's true? And I was like, I just want some Kraft cheese. Yeah. I was like, why has it gotten to this? My aunt asked me if I wanted cheese toast. I said yes. So now I'm in Kroger and you're judging what I'm wearing. And now we're talking about the internet and who's actually watching what. So that was my day. I stayed away from the internet, but saw other people's internet. I'll pass it to Will because that was a weird day.
That is an amazing thing because over our vacation, we were out in like east-ish middle Georgia and we were in Madison. We went to like a grocery store there and it is amazing. Like we live like Atlanta is not New York City. I'm not under delusions like it's pretty big place though. Pretty diverse place. Man, it's still like very East Coasty, eyes in front. Don't make contact. I'm a little country boy. I used to wave at everybody. I don't do that anymore. You got to be crazy. I don't need people thinking I'm crazy. You go out hour outside the city. You're just walking through a grocery store and people will be like, that's a good choice right there. I'm like, what the hell? like you're just taking something off the shelf, looking around, trying to decide on like, do I want option A or option B? And they're like, you're gonna want option B. Let me tell you about my sister. It's like, what is happening here? People just talk, but it's this evidence of such different worlds we live in, yet so close. But the thing you really reminded me of, the near unskippable dialogue trigger that you hit, was the listening to the people who like know you really well. This is a thing that I only really realized over the last year or so, is to just maybe take the advice of the people who like you, like legitimately like you and are encouraging of you and think the world of you. Like the person for like like the men out there, it's like, you know, that person who's always like, you're so handsome. Listen to them. Like listen to that person. Like for me, it's obviously Paige. Um, but like there's other ones too, like my mom and you know, but they don't, there's more to me than just handsome, which I mean, is there though? But no, there is. Uh I had this realization, sorry, I'm getting off topic. Like I had this realization though that it's like maybe I should stop trying to chase all of these weird ideas and all of the like just living inside my own head and like and instead of taking advice from people that you barely know, like even like your managers at work or mentors at work, it's like that person who's in your life that's always been in your corner that will go out of their way to do the most minute thing to make you happy. If they think you're on the right path, you're probably on the right path. Or that thing that they're always like, man, you should, like, why haven't you done X, Y, or Z? You should do one of those three things. Like, just try it out because they're probably right. So that's my unskippable dialogue. Thank you.
I like the unskippable dialogue. It actually, there's a couple things about that. And before I lose my train of thought, when you were talking about getting outside OTP, outside the perimeter, for those of you not in Atlanta, and people start talking, it's hysterical when Katie, my wife, gets rolling. She'll start talking and it's like it's those awkward office moments that just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And I have to look at her and I go, too many words, edit, edit, edit. And she just keeps going, going. I'm like, there's no more words. You're cut off. And then the other thing is it always amazes me when you talk about advice and stuff like that. We always take advice from everybody, right? We don't have a very selective filter when it comes to taking advice. And I forget who said it, but they were like, if you want weight loss advice, you don't take weight loss advice from somebody that's 350 pounds overweight. You don't take financial advice from somebody that's dead broke. But everybody's got, relationship advice from a dude that's been divorced 5 times. You just don't take their advice. You take advice from the people that are successful at what it is that you're trying to get advice from. But man, in the internet age, we just take advice from anybody that posts or people that we haven't seen in 20 years. We have no idea what they've been up to. They've been in jail 6 times. We don't know. But we're taking advice. We're trying to take their advice on something that, they have no concept of. So it's, that whole taking advice thing from people that actually care about you it's pretty huge. So my day today was kind of rough. Y'all, Will especially knows, we fostered a new dog, Mugsy, to replace Saber. And he got kind of sick over the weekend. He'd been kind of limping around. And so we've been doing a lot of doctor visits with him over the past week. And this morning we found out that he had really, really close to end stage lymphoma.
No.
His spleen was riddled with cancer, and he had it all throughout his lymph nodes. So we had to say goodbye. We had to say goodbye to him today. So it was kind of a rough day for us.
Oh my God, Jamie.
Well,
dude, I'm so sorry.
I really wanted to come on because I really, I kind of needed this. Kind of need, my people, in a time like this. So tough day for us. We spent the day, made homemade pizzas, and we made, strawberry shortcake and, homemade whipped cream and stuff like that, just to kind of, just to kind of be together as a family, because it was a tough one. And for everybody out there, we had also just recently put down our 17-year-old husky.
God.
So we've had kind of a rough go of it with dogs, but it was he was a sweet, sweet boy, and I'm glad that we were able to give him kind of a loving taste of a loving home for the month that we had him before he started to kind of deteriorate. But so
And
that's
he got to have
where we were at today.
Yeah, he got to have so much fun with Pickle too. It's good to know that it wasn't Pickle. I mean, that's a relief.
We initially
right?
thought that, Steph, Pickle broke him.
I would have thought too. And I also making sense out of all of your children's names, children and pet children.
Yeah.
I was like, is this Pickle or is it not? I was like, oh no.
No, yeah, this was his name was Mugsy. He was he was a replacement for Saber. Not that you could ever replace a dog that you've had for so.
Pickle is 200 pounds.
Pickle is 200 pounds. Absolutely.
Right. So the breaking is viable in the
logical. Correct.
I would definitely have thought Pickle's fault. I am so sorry. Are you in shock right now?
Yeah, a little bit.
You would have to. Right?
We'd only had him for a little while, so it's hard because when you're fostering to own, you don't know if it's going to work out, so you kind of gird your loins against it not working out. But he was such a good little dog that he just kind of, he stole all of our hearts really early. So it was, it was hard. It was tough. It was tough to see. I'm sad, but I'm also very glad that he's not suffering, because apparently that kind of cancer is pretty painful. So it was. I'm glad that he's not suffering anymore. So we'll say our poor little decaf coffee out for Mugsy here, and then. So this episode is in honor of Mugs.
Absolutely.
Sorry to bring that down, guys.
No, not at all.
So this actually brings me to another area realization that I've had, and a thing that I've tried to do to get off of the internet more. Because I feel like this has been a theme of your year, Steph, too, of just like you've had kind of detoxes and things like that. That if I ever get to a video, like, because I'm bad about like TikTok or Instagram or whatever, I'll get sucked in and I'll be going through reels and reels and reels and reels and reels for like hours, right? If I ever hit one that's about dogs or about like people that like that it just like, because some of them it'll be like you have a little tear and it's like, okay, nice job, thank you, I felt something wonderful. But there's some where I'll be like gagging, holding back, and I'm a weepy guy. It is who I am. If I start doing that, I have this new trigger in my head that snaps every time, and it's put your phone down and go play with your dogs. Like, why don't you go do the thing that you're so emotional about? So if it's like a thing where I'm just like, oh my God, I love my wife so much, I'll just put my phone down. I'll be like, oh, we did it. Good job at Instagram, or like, good job TikTok. You got me there. I'm going to go do the thing that I'm literally like cosplaying, thinking about right now. Like I'm just like fantasizing about living life through you. You triggered me to be like, oh, I can actually go do this right now. I can go have my dogs smother me with kisses. Let's go do that instead of me like watching on Instagram.
Yep. That
happening to someone else. But yeah, it's a fantastic theme overall of like, even though as someone who like works in software, I feel like the best advice you can give people is like, get off your device, like go out. Like however weird sometimes I feel about like Robert Greene, who wrote the 40 Laws of Power, and he does all these books about like he's basically like a modern Machiavelli. So some of this stuff is informative, and it's sort of like, I don't know that we should be informing people of how to do these things, but okay. One of his huge things is like, get out there and go have adventures, like go do stuff in life. And like more than ever, it just feels like we live in a time that you should do that. And while the experience you've been through, Jamie, is horrible and painful, it's like, it is an experience that you'll get to like cherish and pine over and do all those horrible things for the rest of your life. And that's Stephen Colbert also talks about this. I know I'm rambling. But it's like you got to take all the good stuff with the bad stuff, and almost they're equal in a lot of ways. And I struggle to believe that sometimes, but I actually am a big believer in it.
Well, the bad stuff allows you to feel the good stuff.
Yeah.
It really does allow you to. It opens yourself up to being able to be vulnerable enough to feel both the bad and the good. And Steph, I don't know if I'm sure you have, but the Jim Valvano speech at the ESPYs when he was, what was he, like a month from dying, when he was talking about cancer, and he talked about the things that you should do every day. And one is cry, one is laugh, and one is, I think, hug your people. I forget what they all are, but it really does. It allows your person to be more accessible. And why would you live life if you're not going to enjoy all the aspects of it? So, I mean, it hurts, but it's, I'm glad that, like I said, I'm glad that we were there for him.
Yeah.
I'm glad he was there for us, enriched us. So, but cool.
Thank you for sharing. That is
You're welcome.
hard, and hearing it from you makes me appreciate you so much more. And I think doing something to channel your grief and intention, the way that Will just kind of described with going to actually play with his dogs in that moment, I feel like you were doing that by fostering already. You're channeling your grief with this really beautiful intent. And I think who else would have been in a position to transition Mugsy in that way, if not your family right then and there because of where you were? I don't know if Mugsy had favorite songs, favorite candles that soon, favorite movies, but like, if they do, or if there were any toys that were favorites, I'd love to know and acknowledge that as much as possible. And anywhere that, I don't know where Mugsy came from, but like
the streets.
Place. Oh, the streets?
Mugsy came from the streets. We got him. They rescued him. Oh yeah, he was
okay. Origin story of Mugsy. Slow down.
So Mugsy apparently, they picked him up literally off the streets, and he was emaciated. He was all ribs and bones and just a shell of a dog. And they rescued him in February. I think he was 40 something pounds. And by the time we got a hold of him, we had gotten him up to 86, 87 pounds, which, considering all that cancer that was eating his body, is a shocking amount of weight. But we were curious as to why he wasn't putting on, cause dude was eating. I mean, we had him, his training to make sure that he wasn't a resource guarder was to feed him out of our hands. Right. So he only ate from me or Katie's hands. So we'd feed him 6 cups of food a day out of our hands. And, it was sweet. It was very sweet, especially because he was a boxer mastiff mix. So he had that silly underbite and he couldn't take food straight on. He'd have to turn his head to get to it. So he was a sweat guy, man. He was a sweet dog. And like I said, I'm glad we were able to be there for him and kind of give him a space, in the final leg of his race. Yeah. So it was nice. It was nice. And Pickle, my God, the dogs, and here's a discussion we can have. Somebody fairly close to our family made the statement the other day that they don't believe biblically that anybody but human beings have souls. Animals don't have souls, therefore they will not go to heaven. And that it's supported by biblical verse, which, I heartily disagree with on so many different levels. But if you're telling me that these dogs that have incredible empathy and knowledge and awareness don't have souls, then you're truly missing the boat, because Pickle had been smelling right around the area where Mugsy's cancer was located for about a week.
Oh my God.
So Pickle knew. Pickle understood what was going on. And that to me, in retrospect, sitting back and seeing, the diagnosis and all, I'm like, God damn it, that dog knew. He knew what was going on, and he smelled it. He sensed it. I'm sure he comforted Mugsy in his own goofy ass way. And It's pretty amazing. It really is. It really is pretty incredible.
Okay, you triggered me. You did it. I don't want to be this person. I don't. But like, the Bible started out explaining that animals have like it's in Genesis.
To kind of paraphrase what the argument against it was that the fall from grace was purely about humans, and the sacrifice was for humans, not for animals. And my whole the supporting literature, the supporting Bible verses were quoted, but of course that's from a very specific point of view. My response was, the Bible is written by flawed men, and the Council of Trent and the Council of all of these gatherings of flawed, power-hungry, corrupt men decided what the books of the Bible were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't
That
want to
was
hear
your
about.
debate.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like,
I don't want to hear about how God's word is God's word and that's it, and that's all there is to it, because God's word has been adulterated several different times throughout history.
that's facts. Can you give me 2 minutes to say a couple of things on God?
Oh, sorry. Yes, go ahead. I'm gonna cold my mind.
No, you're right. Everything about God's word and what man has done to it is true. But just to be clear, God's word, he says, animals were given to the same as humans in the beginning. Like, this is Genesis. He breathed life in the man, and that is life. And then that created animals. We did not create animals. Humans didn't create them. God created animals and humans. They have the same breath, God's own. It's both in them. So that's the first one. And that's how Genesis starts out, is like, and to every beast of the earth, I've given every green food. That's not right, but it's literally, that's how it starts. Second thing, let's get into Jesus Christ. He came for redemption of all of creation. The ark and all that shit, animals were a part of the groaning, and they're a part of the creation's glory. So all souls ache, all souls wait. They all rejoice. They all make sounds. Like it's all the same. Third, it sounds like the person you're talking to has an issue with pork, and there is a relationship with swine in their life that they are going to have to untangle, and Christians need to untangle it. But I have found this, and I don't know if the overlap is as high as I have experienced this overlap living a faith-based life, but usually people who have this view are trying to deal with how much meat they eat and how smart they find out that pigs are. And having parents that lived in livestock and farming and being around it, they know everything, and then they're on your plate. Like, my dad talked about Tom the turkey and how he loved Tom the turkey, and then he was like, wait, is Tom on the Thanksgiving plate? And his father was like, yeah, why did you think we were like feeding Tom all year? And he was like, up about Thanksgiving. My mother, she couldn't look at eggs. If she smelled raw eggs, because she was like, well, I mean, I saw two-headed chickens all the time. But I used to go to the fair and see two-headed babies. So I love that shit. And I was like, right, that's you. There's so much with animals and how they grow in the wild and in the world that is so directly related to the human experience that it's crazy that they would make those arguments rationally. And they like to go up against people who don't want to talk about what's in the Bible word for word in the argument. They want to talk about the adultery of man when literally God said like 10 things that were like, you're going to need them, right? And humans, you don't eat grass. So who was that for? Like, he just keeps going with the premise of animals and living in harmony with them. Okay, I'm done. Woo.
I'm like, I don't want you to be done. I need a break. I need the choir to come in and sing a song, and I need you back.
If God made lilies in the field and watches the sparrow when it falls, how much more care and complexity? When the Oreo hums, what do you need? And this is like musicianship and art. Like, what do people need to understand the connection, Jamie? I'm done.
I mean, it really comes down to the whole argument kind of loses wind for me. Even let's first of all to be very clear, I grew up very, very Christian in various different non-denominational, denominational, even Catholic at some point. So my mother is ultra religious.
Most Americans.
So I've got a lot of experience with it. I have a very, very difficult time to be totally transparent, a very difficult time with organized religion based purely on the fact that if your God is omnipotent, all-knowing, and all-aware, then we can't possibly fathom what his or her intentions are, right? So that it's beyond us, and it should be. So that's my number one thing. But if you're gonna go with it, and heaven is a place that is everything you want it to be, well, damn it, I want my damn dogs to be there. So you can't tell me that my dogs aren't in heaven.
Amen.
If it's the perfect place, Saber's waiting for me. So it doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense.
So
I like your argument better, frankly. You're right.
Well, just obviously it's such a nuanced issue. Religion in and of itself is such a nuanced thing, and I think it's so important to be able to be open and hear other arguments. And I think people like that can't hear other arguments because they only hear what they need to hear.
I don't know. Literacy is low. I don't know if it's as nuanced as people don't read. Yeah. They don't know what it says when the words are put together. And then what the sentences mean when they're in certain orders. They don't know.
That's a fact.
I look back on things that I wrote down in my journal in 2005, and I don't like me very much then, but it was what I was doing.
That's part of why I slowed down on journaling, but it's such an essential part of my life. I found a journal because I used to type my journal, which I also do not think is as good, at least for me. I got to write it by hand.
Yeah.
But man, I found some old journals of myself and I was like, ooh, brother, that's not.
I found that when I journaled, I found it was very performative. Like I was just writing to sound cool or something, I guess. I look back at it and I'm like, did you actually feel like that? Or were you just trying to like show out to your journal in case somebody found it?
There are definitely some of those passages in my old one, which is part of the like, oh son, like, no, oh buddy, you were not doing well. Yeah. You were going through it because that is not real. And we both know that was not real. Yeah.
So funny.
No, I do it now because I'm a huge believer that like you don't have complete thoughts until you either say it out loud or you write it in a complete sentence. Like it's just fragments until you actually get it out. So I find for me, I don't journal every day. I don't do like a thing like that, but it's a practice. I usually try and do it in the morning. Sometimes I don't, but it's a way of completing thoughts, and it's how I process stuff. Or it's all like pre-process stuff sometimes too, where it's like I'm not exactly sure what I'm feeling, like let's just start writing about it, and then I'll be like, oh, this is definitely like we're gonna put this on the note card and we're gonna take that one to therapy. Or sometimes it's like, oh, we got this. Oh, okay, this one's okay.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah. Speaking of performative journal entries, one time I was being a little sister, and I went in and read my sister's journal. And it was this story is well known, so it's fine. But I went in and read it, and it was not performative. It was very real about what like a 13-year-old girl was going through, maybe 14 or 15. And I was like 9. I closed that book so fast, and I made her the largest cup of ice cream that night when she was like, what is going on with you? I was like, nothing. You all right? And like 2 weeks passed, and I noticed my mom being extra nice to her too. And so we were riding to the mall. It was just me and her. And she's at the stoplight and she was like, I read your sister's diary the other day. It was the saddest thing I've ever read. And I was like, I know, right? And she was like, I knew you snooped. And I was like, but that really was a lesson in not being, I was like, I don't know what teenageness is about then, if this is what you feel. And it was just like PMS, but like a 13, 14-year-old girl explaining it, shook. I was shook. Then there were some really, really amazing passages. I never wrote a journal ever as a child because I was too busy scheming.
You don't write those down.
That's why I was like, that's evidence. Why would I ever write it down? Now, a love note to someone, yeah, I'll send that right along. But like what I did, or even like a version of what I did, no. What time did you think I got home? Like, you first, and then I'll say when I got home.
Look, that's the first way serial killers and criminals get caught.
Every time, Jamie.
Shut their damn mouths.
Every time. I'm so shocked every time there's I'm like, there it goes. Every time.
Yep. People don't seem to understand that if you shut your mouth and don't ever speak about it, you won't get caught. But you got to show off. You have to show off. Even 10 years down the road, sitting in prison with your cellie, and you feel like you got to brag to him, and he knew he's going to rat you out. And then all of a sudden, you got to go find another body, and it's weird, and that leads to the other body, and then, I mean, never fails, man. It never fails.
That's fucking funny.
I've seen all those Netflix documentaries. Somebody's in the freezer, or pieces of somebody are in the freezer. I mean,
unless
you got to break them up. They don't fit whole. I mean, who's got that big a freezer?
Yeah. There have been a lot of restaurant fronts, so they can have those deep freezers to hold the body.
That's true. That's true.
This has been an interesting episode so far.
What's been on the mind? Steph, we'll start with you.
I don't want to say, because it's going to be the same thing as always.
Is it Beyonce?
Okay. I'll at least say what I finished. I'll say what recently happened. I recently finished an excellent book.
Okay.
I very much enjoyed the book. I thought the narrator was great. I thought the story provided insights that I have wanted to know since I was a child. And I think I would read this book every night for the rest of my life.
Well, you can't leave us hanging, girl.
Well, it's Matriarch by Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mother. And I've already it's been 55 minutes, so I feel like I haven't said her name yet in this episode. But like,
our audience is getting real pissed. They wanted a drink.
Yeah.
It was a very good book. She filled in so many gaps that no one would ever explain in the history of their celebrity, including Destiny's Child and Beyonce. And it was a very good book about a mother loving her daughters. And I was like, oh, this is so nice. And man, it would be nice to be this rich with your mom, because that sounds great. That sounds like exactly how you would want to be. You have problems, but the problems just look so different with that type of money. And I enjoyed luxuriating in rich mother-daughter problems for like 34 hours, because she's Southern and she reads slow as fuck.
And she narrated her own book, which is, as an audiobook narrator, I can tell you most authors are terrible narrators. They're awful. They cannot read their own work.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to say,
they're usually terrible.
I'm not recommending it, but I would love your review of her as a narrator, because I felt like I was getting a big hug from her the whole time. And I was like,
love that.
And I think she was even putting on a little more accents and flourishes where she didn't necessarily need to, but I thought she did voices well too. She tried to kill the country accent when she wanted to be a different person, and it didn't work at all, but made it funny.
Yeah.
So, like, it was good. It was very, very good. I enjoyed it.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? I mean, number one, when you read your own book, you're tempted to edit on the fly as you're rereading your words, right? You're tempted to go, maybe I want it to sound like this. And that's the last thing you want to do when you're recording, right? You want it to be what you wrote the first time. So that's the first thing. The second thing, the cool thing is they can't stop, the production company can't stop Tina Knowles from doing whatever voices she hears because those are her words. She can interpret it however the hell she wants, right? So you get the possibility of having these really cool insights into what the author was actually thinking these people sounded like, that's kind of a cool, unique perspective.
It was.
And if they're good, that's great. But if they're Stephen King can't narrate his own shit to save his life. His voice is awful. I love Stephen King, and Stephen, if you're listening, I'll narrate all your books, but you know better. You know all better. He knows his voice is just atrocious. It's kind of reedy and nasally and it's awful.
He likes being a part of his own productions, though, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, he's also smart enough to know.
Yeah, he steps back. You're right. There are productions where he steps back.
Yeah.
And
he's smart enough to know if I put the right people in place, I can kind of let it go. If they want help, they can come to me and I'll tell them which way I think this should go. But, he has some stuff that he's totally hands off on. For example, the last Dark Tower movie.
Not good.
Not good.
Wait, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, wait, so he didn't have a role and it's bad.
It's terrible. It's
They tried to put 7 books into one movie.
Oh, whoa.
And it's a series that starts off super strong and then it gets a little weird toward the end.
Well, so here's
trying to jam all of it into one movie was just completely incoherent.
And it was like an hour and a half too. They didn't even try to go like the
No.
It was like an hour and a half.
Breaking Dawn, part 1 and 2.
It was terrible. It was so bad.
That's
and to be fair, and I don't know why they try to do it at all, honestly, because if you've not read the Dark Tower series and know anything about it, virtually everything Stephen King has written ties into this series. So almost all of his books will reference or be a part of that universe at some point in the book. So it's not just those 7 books. You've got the 7 books that he wrote, but then The Stand has characters that overlap, and The Talisman have characters that overlap. And it's just really cool when you get into it. You're like, oh, this is so awesome. This is just...
It's weird. You have the history of the series and the franchise to rely on to get over the hump.
Yeah. It's just trying to jam all that into a movie is just, I don't understand why they would ever try to do that.
I think I won't do more on WNBA right now. Let's do that in the next episode. But that's the other thing in my mind that I've been watching.
All right with that.
Yeah.
Young William.
Sorry, this all reminds me apparently of I think this is him, Dennis Lind. He's the guy who wrote a ton of country music songs, including Goodbye Earl, John Deere Green, Bubba Shot the Jukebox, Colin Baton Rouge. I mean, this guy is tons of stuff. Apparently, all of his songs were based in a fictional town.
Oh,
everything.
Nice.
So there are literally references from one song to the other that the names are used. And I think he literally had a map. He drew a map
of
this whole thing. So Stephen King ripped him off, I think is what I'm saying. But it's incredible to me how many authors have that thing where they create one universe and there are all of these things that happen within that universe, but they're all such different stories. It's just an incredible way of thinking. But
well, I mean, once for example, Tolkien is a perfect example of that. He took so long to flesh out that world. Why wouldn't he set everything in it? He wrote friggin' languages. He made up languages. and whole languages, whole and complete with letters and alphabets. And I mean, he did it all. So, I mean, it makes sense to me that he would set everything he's ever written in that world.
Yeah.
I would. Hell, you got a world all fleshed out ready for you.
Yeah.
I'm still alive.
Who?
It's J.R.R. Tolkien.
No, he's dead.
He's dead. When did he die?
That's a great question. I know. I feel like it was just after World War II. Let's look it up.
Okay. Yeah. You know what?
When did J.R.R. Tolkien die? 1973.
So I just never, I never lived in a universe where people didn't reference Lord of the Rings shit to me.
Yeah.
And me being like, are you doing it again? They're like, we are. And I'm like, okay. Like anyone I ever loved and cared for, they're going to reference Tolkien. Now I'm like, I'm not doing it, but I have to know it because it's always been around. And it is the series.
Well, I mean, the Hobbit came out in 1937.
Yeah.
So it's been around.
That's why I thought he died in like the 40s. And then
Right.
people were like, what are you talking about? He was around during. I was like, I don't know, man. I just know he wrote a lot of shit.
Well,
And then the movies came out when we were older, and I was like, oh no.
It's back.
But I liked the Tolkien movie series era more than I liked the Harry Potter movie series era.
Well, it's a much better movie.
Yeah. Much, much better.
Much better movie. I don't want to give,
they're both terrible.
Too much airtime because
Really?
Don't give too much airtime. Go ahead. Sorry.
But I actually think that her books, the books, are better stories, more well written. Well, I don't know. It's hard to compare them.
Bro, I thought we were friends.
I know it's hard to compare them. It's like one written in Tolkien wrote in such an elevated form that it's hard to compare the two. I don't know. I'm going to stop myself from saying anything further because I have to reconsider that.
I was going to say, I was like, I do want an answer on this, though. I just feel like it's going to take some time.
I love the Harry Potter series, the books.
But not like the way you like Tolkien, it sounds like. I'm just saying what I heard.
Well, I love Tolkien too, but the Tolkien books are harder to read. Much, much harder to read.
Which means the payoff is that much more.
Eh.
No, I think in a way, I want to give like the worst possible answer, which is like they're kind of equal, but they're of different times.
Yeah.
Because Tolkien's work, it's written in a different way because it was written for a very different era where it's like there are these long sweeping descriptions. I mean, the dude spends a page describing a pasture. And then the next page is the mountain behind the pasture. And then the next page is what the sky looks above the mountain. It's like, geez, like I got to learn how to skim faster. But the books are, I don't even know how to compare them. Actually, it is really.
God, you both are doing.
No, to me, I feel like I'm like being myself here because I love the Harry Potter books deeply. I mean, I'm basically an adult Harry Potter bro. I tell way too many people which house I'm, like sorted into, and it's a whole controversy like in my home. It's a thing. We think we got it wrong. Like we think they got it wrong, honestly. So anyway, I love it so deeply, but I think way deep down, I love the Lord of the Rings books so much more. And it will trigger nerd rage in me if I get I can't watch the movies anymore because I saw the movies and then I read the books.
You hate Sean.
It was I was so mad flipping the pages. I'm like, I understand Peter Jackson did a thing and it's great, but it's wrong. It's so wrong in so many ways. There are a number of things in them that make me very, very mad, which I will get my facts straight. I'm not going to just start spouting off stuff. I can't have Stephen Colbert lighting me up in the comments. Or Airplane Facts with Max, who is like one of my favorite guys. If you don't know him, go follow him. Yeah, they're so beautiful. And also, if you go back to the Lord of the Rings, it's like I understand Tolkien is like pulling a lot of lore from other places, right? Like Smaug in The Hobbit is Fafnir from the Volsung saga, which is like
What?
ancient Viking sagas.
You
Yeah,
said no English.
yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. So it's like he's pulling from other places and pulling from other places, how we tell stories. There's parts of Harry Potter that are like straight from the Lord of the Rings. Like, I mean, it is like the enemy or the demon or the thing. It's like that's that's the exact same thing. Like we are talking about I mean, basically, spoiler alert, but like the One Ring, it's a Horcrux.
Yeah.
The One Ring is a Horcrux. It's the same thing. You have to destroy the ring in order to destroy the dude. But anyway,
I don't even know what
we
that
could,
means, but I know that'll be the episode of something.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so yeah. So I think if you were to force me to like pick, if you were like you have to pick one and the other one gets destroyed, I would keep the Lord of the Rings, even though I hate the movies.
Jamie,
Yes.
I know what's been on your mind. Do you want to talk about what you're thinking about going into the week, or do you want to have a hall pass?
Yeah.
No, I don't want a hall pass. I mean, you know, I have to give my weekly Trump rant for all my people out there. What up, people? But my video this week, if you guys, or one of them this week, if you saw the TikTok was about taco and I lightly jabbed at the Don by eating a nacho cheese taco shell.
The cheese
But
show.
the deeper relevance to that is pretty. It's nothing new. I mean, we all knew this going in, just how much of a narcissist he was, and he truly does have narcissistic personality disorder. Just as an, just so we're all on the same page, a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. That's the Mayo Clinic's definition of narcissistic personality disorder. And that is Donald Trump to a T. It could not be more on the nose for this guy. And like I said, this is nothing new. This is not new information for anybody that's ever followed this guy. We all know, we all understand. But I think it's important in that, for the longest time, the right, not even MAGA, but the right has catered to him because he's kind of aligned with what they wanted to have happen. And now that's all in his second term. The governor is off and he's just doing whatever the hell he wants because there's no fallout for him to do what he wants. And he's just kind of governing from his hip pocket and making judgment calls. And Ukraine is bad, and then the Ukraine were trying to get minerals out of it, and now they're good again because Putin's bad, but Putin was good a little while ago, and now he's good again. And Xi Jinping is a great ruler, but then he's not a great ruler, and now we're gonna tariff the shit out of him, and it's all because this guy he's a narcissist. And if you come to him and you say, "Oh, Mr. Trump, President Trump, you're the best, you're the greatest," he will hit you with favors. If you don't, then he won't. And that's all it is. It's all it is. And to me, the balance of ICE, of our trade relationships, of our financial status, of, somebody with that kind of personality is super vindictive, is super spiteful, is not empathetic, and they have control of the military and the nuclear codes. And it's just a nightmare. I mean, it really is a nightmare. And I think I said when he was first elected that they being the Republican Party will 25th him before his first term is done. The Republicans will remove him. And I do still believe that that's coming to fruition very soon because he's painting himself in a corner. And the people that are being really kind of affected by not only his tariffs and all that, but this new budget bill are his constituents. And a lot of Republicans are going to have to face those constituents in the very near election. And, they're going to have to break with him. So I think you may see him removed by his own party before long.
Do you have like a prediction for what you think the trigger point will be? Like, when does he finally
Well,
do the thing that the Republicans are like, gotcha?
Yeah, I honestly think, and this is going to sound stupid, but this taco thing has sent him over the edge. He cannot, all the things people have been calling him stuff for years and years and years and years. But when you call him a chicken, that's the thing that has kept him up for a week, is that you call him a chicken. And you know what? It is. This has unhinged him in a way that nothing previously has.
It's because he's a boomer, dude. Did you not see Back to the Future? I'm totally stealing from some dude I saw on like Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Did you see what happened to Marty McFly, who would be a boomer at this point by the years in that movie? What happened when people called him chicken?
Yeah, absolutely.
All logic went out the window.
Yep.
It was, and everyone knew. Everyone in Back to the Future knew that it was like, you want to set someone off? Call that asshole chicken.
Yep. Yeah. I think, he's posting, he always posts crazy shit, but now he's posting, facts about how Biden was killed in 2020 and that he's been replaced by a life-size robot and the Democrats can't tell the difference. I mean, he's posting this stuff now as if it were real. I mean, the whole South African immigrants thing, he latched on to a completely debunked thing about South African farmers being persecuted and executed. And that's why he granted them amnesty into this country. Well, it's all made up by a right-wing news outlet. None of it is real. And he just, he's completely unhinged. And I think that this taco thing is the thing that, believe it or not, is going to push him over the edge. It's wild. Even MTG came out the other day and said, I didn't read the bill, but if I had, I wouldn't have voted for it. What? Yeah. So, I mean, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who allegedly planted bombs outside before January 6th. Allegedly, Spork Toes has been active. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at.
I'm kind of with you that the name calling does set older people off, especially. I've been off internet, and when I watched your video, I was like, he loves tacos. I was like, what the fuck is Jamie talking about? He loves tacos. He loves beans. Don't you remember he did that whole beans thing in 2016? I thought you were losing your mind, and I had to Google what was going on with taco, that he wasn't talking about this. Like, what was it? Frijoles? He did a whole like taco salad, black beans.
Yeah, well, the Goya black bean thing. Remember that?
Yes, frijoles. Yes. So I thought you were referencing something from that. And I was like, oh no, there's a new thing. And then I was like, oh no, you can't call these people a chicken. I part-time lived at a independent retirement community for 3 years. These people were 55 and older. They had cash to spend. There were hot tubs, there were gyms, and they were looking for their second life. And Fox News and CNN blared at 100 at both volumes in the same.
Oh.
What I will tell you is that I saw more men signaling that they were more masculine than other men who were 80 years old the entire time that I was there. Every time I would see 2 men in the gym still trying to compete. And I was like, it was very clear that they were ready to fight at any point for their honor. And if someone called them a chicken, and I don't think he is immune to that type of thinking. Words can break some people's bones. steak stuff.
Somebody parked a taco truck outside the White House yesterday, and he had Secret Service remove it.
Is that true, Jamie? Or are you telling me jokes?
No, that's true. Somebody parked a taco truck outside the White House.
Listen,
I
I'm
mean,
going
as
to get up.
close as you can get to the White House. I mean, you can't get too close, but you can get close enough.
Yeah.
There are a lot of food trucks very close to the White House. Love it. So that's funny.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
it's
taco.
nonstop.
So we'll figure out a timeline, and then we can do over-unders on whether we think it'll happen before the fall. Sure.
I'm hoping it's soon, but I don't know. It's you also wonder the machine behind Trump. For me, Stephen Miller is probably the worst part about this administration. It really is. Trump. What's that?
It's effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that even if they push him out, the thing is that nobody has the cachet that Donald Trump has. Donald Trump moves the meter. You either love him or you don't, but he will always get the headline, right? Nobody else gets that headline like he does. Not J.D. Vance. There's nobody in the Republican Party. Mike Johnson
would make the case no one's deserving of it more than him in the.
Oh yeah, no. So if he were to be removed, there's nobody really that the Republicans could put in that would be, to me, as dangerous as Trump is, just because of who he is and what he's accomplished. And his audacity, frankly, to say, no, I am going to do this and find a way to make it happen. I don't care if I have to remove judges. I don't care if I have to change the Constitution. I don't care if I am Donald Trump. So, I don't know that there's anybody that they could possibly replace him with, and certainly nobody as dangerous as he is. But anyway.
Good.
Yay tacos.
Yay tacos. We'll eat them every day.
I love tacos. Fucking love them.
I know you do. It wasn't even Taco Tuesday. It took me like 5-6 minutes to figure out what was happening.
Both girls love those tacos too, man. They love those Doritos Locos tacos. They love them. They're always like, Daddy, can we go to Taco Bell? I'm like, hell yeah, we can go to Taco Bell.
I created a new build, a new player on NBA 2K this weekend. I spent about an hour and I made a power forward that can shoot and really cares about rebounding, but doesn't always get the rebounds. And I started a Discord community to look for people to play with, or joined a couple of Discord communities to play with. I got offers and then I got scared and I didn't reply to the people. So I'm looking forward on getting back to my, I tipped my toe into friendship online in online gaming and I got scared. So I'm going to give it a shot of running back in there. They were like, yeah, I'd love to play with you. And I was like, oh, no, never mind. Sorry.
That fear is real, man. As someone who plays primarily solo video games,
yes,
I lurk on some Discord communities around the games that I love. And these people are like, yo, let's get down, let's do some co-op. I'm like, no, man, I don't want you making fun of me.
It's what happened.
Yeah.
I joined Spida, SPIDA, NBA 2K's live. I do it every Saturday. I end up spending 2 or 3 hours in the background. Then I start talking like I actually can shoot the ball. And then I've sold myself as something I'm not. But I'm going to dip my toe back in there and see what happens.
But that's the thing, though. Unless you're running into one of these rage lord, 14, 13-year-olds on Call of Duty, honestly, the experience I've had with almost every gamer who I've played an online game with is just the nicest people.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No.
They don't make fun of you. They're just like you may or may not be better than them at the game. And they're just like, yeah, man, come on. But one of my gamer tags used to be Sweet Billy. And I still remember playing zombies on Call of Duty, old Call of Duty with some guys. And they're, come on, Sweet Billy, get up in here, man. You got to go grab this other thing. Get in the other room, man. You got a Sweet Billy. You got it, man. Clearly a core memory, apparently, for me.
That's very core. You went right back to it. No, NBA 2K community will say, why are you shooting? why? Why are you shooting if you're not good at this? And I'm like, how do you get good unless you
shoot?
You got to get good.
gotta
Yeah.
get good. So that's what I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it, but I'm heaving myself into it. So that's what we're doing.
That's funny. Ella and I bought NBA 2K for her and me so that we could play against each other. And I started a profile, but I haven't really fleshed him out. And I got drafted. Yeah. I got drafted by the Lakers because
you're not going to
nobody there was no room for me on the Celtics, so I picked the Lakers to go on,
Why?
Well, because I wanted to play the the three, and there was no room on the Celtics.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So I'm a Laker, which is just hysterical. Assalamu Lakers.
One question, and this will be how we end this. One question: do you count the Lakers championships when they were Minnesota?
Yeah, they were in the NBA, right?
Yeah, but you count those as LA's championships.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they have what, 17 and we have 17? Or we have 8?
Very caring and loving Boston fan. Like, you don't have to give them that.
No. Yeah, but you know what though? Listen,
good man. That's how I know.
I gotta be better than some folks. I listen, when we lost to the Knicks, we deserved to lose to the Knicks. Now, and we knew damn well that the Pacers were going to beat them. But, listen, you lose. You lose. If you don't want to lose, score more points. Stop them from scoring points. It's super simple, right? It's super simple. The only fan base that I really have beef with, there are two. It's the Yankees fans and Florida Gators. That's it. It's the only two fan bases I have issues with.
Those two.
Well, one, I went to Florida State.
Oh, shit, Yogan, you hate them.
Can't have any Gators in your life. You just can't.
Oh,
and two, the Red Sox are they're my heart and soul.
So Yankees got to die.
And the Yankee fans, and the problem is there's so many casual Yankee fans. And if you know the game, I can totally respect what you have to say. But if you don't know the game and all you can say is 27 rings, then I got no time for you.
I once had a manager, it was a long time ago. Someone told him that we didn't know anything about him. Like, they were like, the team doesn't really know you. You don't really share yourself. And so he came in the next day and he had a magazine cutout of Steinbrenner's Yankees. And that was the only thing he placed on his wall. And I was like, that's the one thing you want us to take away from you as our very important senior leader of this department, is that you only trust in the year our Lord, say 2012, Steinbrenner's Yankees. Like, what? That, and I didn't like that guy that much.
That sums them up.
That sums them up.
There you go.
Boom.
So Jamie,
Kyle.
I'm looking at Wikipedia. This is going to enrage you, though. The MVP of me and Paige's wedding was Mr. Kyle Jackson. He played strong safety for the Florida Gators. And he was a friend of Paige. It was funny because one of her friends from college, Florida State, her husband, Kyle, they knew each other from high school, one went to Florida, obviously, one went to Florida State. And he, lagging around national championship ring, every time I turned around, he would just be like, Will, do you need something? What you got? Is Paige okay? You guys good? He was just like, our drinks would ice would start to melt and he would, a fresh one right there. He's not even waiting for you to finish it. He's like, you need a fresh drink. He would come and interrupt conversations. He would be like, they've been at that table for too long. We had a 300 person wedding. He's like, they need to be circulating. Kyle would come up and be like, hey, well, can I talk to you? So can I talk to you guys for a second? Would they pull us to another? He'd like, I just wanted to save you guys. You head on to the next table. Other than him, I feel exactly the same way as you.
When I went to Florida Field to witness Florida State, Florida, we had Ziploc bags of urine thrown at us in the stadium because...
Well, yeah, they learned that from Boston fans, didn't they?
As a college fan in order to get booze into the stadium, you'd tape Ziploc bags full of booze to your body. And when you had to pee, you fill those empties up that you just drank with the urine. So they would throw the bags of urine at us. Delightful people. Delightful.
That is amazing.
Plus, Florida there's so many Florida fans that didn't actually go to Florida, right? Florida State fans, if you're a Florida State fan, you probably went to Florida State. If you're a Florida fan, you may not have even graduated high school.
But yeah,
I mean,
no chance.
I feel like this is true of a lot of like
State school
colleges.
Yeah,
though.
that's facts.
It's got University of blank
Tennessee.
in it. It's like, yeah, University. Oh my God, yes.
I got a tooth. It's real.
Stop it.
I got some horrible.
You respect.
I came of age in the state of Tennessee. I got some of the worst Tennessee jokes ever, but we're not going to say anything.
We're not. They're going to take it personal.
Yes, they are.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they
And
are.
thus concludes episode 753. Thus concludes this episode of Take It Personal. I am Steph. Thank you, Jamie and Will, as my co-host. Another lovely episode. Follow us everywhere. We're now on YouTube. We are on TikTok. We will be on more places, but Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, I think is what they like to be called, are some places we can start. And we look forward to talking to you again. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Peace out.